Welcome to today's episode of Two Pigs in a Pod, a podcast for the people of Glazing, by the people of Glazing. I'm George Lewis, editor at the People in Glazing Society, or more commonly known as PiGs, and I'll be your host. Our guest today is Gareth Jones. Gareth, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello.
So, I don't think there's many people that don't know who you are in the industry, but for the very minute few that don't know who you are, can you say who you are and what you do in our industry?
Yeah, so it's Gareth Jones. I work for a company called Solar Fabrications. Previous life took me to REHAU and Profine, so I've been in the industry a long time. I'm also, as of yesterday, become the recent chair of FENSA as well, so I'm quite active in the industry, hence why people would probably be familiar with the name.
Yeah, and for those that don't know who Solar Fabrications is, can you briefly explain who they are?
Yeah, we're a conglomerate of about 3 companies that operate out of the site that was formerly owned by Synseal. So when that business went into administration back at the time of COVID, we took on the fabrication assets of that business, and from that we run a business in new build installation, composite doors and trade manufacturing.
Okay. And like you said, you've been in the industry quite a while now. Like, how did you get into it in the first place?
Well, like many people, you don't grow up wanting to be in the window and door industry. And as we often say in the industry, no one plans to be in it, and once you're in it, you can't get out, and there's nothing truer than that. No, I joined REHAU as a graduate trainee as soon as I left university, and I didn't know, other than what they did in plastics, I didn't know what specifically they did. I was dumped in the marketing department, and from there I went into the window division as a product manager and moved my way through the ranks, and that's how I arrived in the glass and glazing industry.
Okay, and you said you started as a graduate. You've obviously seen the industry grow up, I guess, in those times. Is it good that you started off sort of right down the pecking order as a graduate and have worked your way up to various roles within different companies?
Yeah, 100%, because I was fortunate. I mean, REHAU is a fantastic company to work for, and they gave me the opportunity to work in different disciplines. So I did marketing from a publicity point of view, but I also did product marketing, product design. I went into the sales team, and I finished off as marketing and technical director. And that obviously gave me a good insight into the product development side, but also the sales, the commercial aspects of the business, meeting fabricators. And now that I run a fabrication business, that's added into my knowledge of how the industry works.
Yeah, and when you first started in the sector, sort of what was it like, and how has that changed over the last few years?
Quite a lot's changed really in terms of product. The product design, not necessarily that great, but in terms of colour options and that sort of thing, how the market or the industry is very good at reinventing itself. I mean, I'm predominantly involved in PVC windows, and PVC windows have a lifetime of 30, 40 years, but there's a reason why people replace them every 7 to 10 years, and that's because the industry is very good at designing obsolescence in terms of colour finishes and aesthetics. So that's changed quite a lot. And obviously technology advances, technology in machinery, in fabrication, technology in software, in how to manufacture the windows and so forth. And now, of course, the digital age, social media and online sales and so forth. So, yeah, quite a lot since 1998.
Okay, and has that been quite a nice sort of way round in terms of your career in the industry, in terms of you've seen so much, you've sort of seen it how it was and how it is, even over the last few years, sort of how it's changed. Has that been quite exciting to be a part of?
Yeah, absolutely. And from a personal point of view, it's sort of almost grown up with the industry. When you come out of university, still wet behind the ears, a lot to learn. Staying in the same industry all that length of time, okay, there are disadvantages to that. You become wedded to a particular industry, and then it's difficult to move out of it, as I said earlier. But yeah, having gone through that sort of professional development from a personal point of view, alongside how the industry's developed, of course, that's very pleasing and nice to reflect on.
Yeah, and why do you think you've stayed in the industry so long? You've not thought to try something new? What's sort of kept you in? Like you said, once you're in, you stay in. But what's your reason why you've stayed here?
I often joke with people that loyalty to a particular company might be loyalty in itself, or it might be an incompetence to find a job elsewhere. Hopefully that's not the case in my personal case. No, when working for REHAU, I was extremely loyal to them because they were loyal to me, so I stayed with that business, and I never looked outside of the industry in all of the 20 years that I was there. And then once you get to a certain age and certain experience, okay, as a managing director, a lot of the skills could transfer to another industry, but when you hit a certain age, it's the expertise, it's the industry knowledge that people are buying into, and then it would be hard for me to move out of it now.
Okay.
So yeah.
And looking, obviously, you say you've had various roles throughout your career. Now in your new role at FENSA, what does the market look like currently from where you're looking at in terms of at Solar Fabrications and higher up?
Well, you've got obviously short-term and long-term views on how the market is. At the moment, the market's it's a difficult one. It's a challenging one. It's not surprising. People have got less money to spend, and that always hits the retail and the trade side of the market. So it's a bit of a struggle. And the industry's got a bit of a tarnished history of the race to the bottom, and that tends to accelerate once volumes start dropping. So we're in that sort of situation at the moment. I'm fortunate in the business that I run is involved in quite a number of different markets. The new build market, for instance, is very buoyant. We've still got a housing shortage. So that from one side of the business is propping up the other and vice versa. So it's about riding up the individual rises and falls within the market. Long-term perspectives, I would expect things to start improving towards the end of this year, and hopefully then the volumes will be suitable enough for businesses to prosper and do well. But at the moment, it is challenging if I'm honest.
Okay, and obviously outside of all your different roles in our industry, you're also taking on Kilimanjaro in September with Sarah and other people. Like, what made you decide to take up the challenge?
Well, yeah, it came around about the right time for me personally. I saw Sarah posted, I think it was on LinkedIn, and it might have been as far back as April last year. Does anyone fancy this challenge? And at the time, I was going through a difficult period in personal life, separating in a marriage, and wondering how I was going to cope with that, and recently changed jobs, etc. So I felt that I needed to do something to have outside of that to focus on. I was also unfit, unwell, and not looking after myself. So the combination of that challenge, wanting to do something for a very good cause, and mental illness is something that has become very evident to me, particularly over the last 2 to 3 years, both personally but also working with people that have suffered. So it was a particularly important cause for me to support. So the combination of timing, the cause, wanting to do something good for myself, it was ideal, and I can't say how much I'm looking forward to it.
Right, yeah. So how's things currently going? Obviously, when we're recording this, we're a few months out from it. But how are you currently feeling, and how's it going?
I'm feeling absolutely fantastic. I've got to be honest, I don't know why it's taken me nearly 50 years to realise that if you exercise regularly, cut out the drink and the fatty foods, etc., you feel better, you sleep better, clear thinking and so forth. So I started training, as it were, back in October. So about 5 months ago, I stopped drinking. I haven't had an alcoholic drink for that period of time. I've lost 2.5 stone in weight. Wow. I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and now I'm regularly walking in the Derbyshire Dales. I've just done Snowdon with Sarah, feeling fit and well and relishing the challenge.
Nice. And do you think this would be the first of many once you've done Kilimanjaro? Is there anything on your bucket list now that you would want to do in the future?
Absolutely. I know people are joking, well, once you've got the Kilimanjaro out of the way, you're going to go back to your old ways and so forth. And that's definitely not. I mean, this is very much a new me. I am enjoying feeling good about myself, and I'm enjoying the exercise and the fitness. So yeah, once Kilimanjaro is done, it will be on to another challenge, and we've already sort of started talking about what that possibly could be. So absolutely, we'll do something else.
Nice. And obviously you spoke a little bit about your own mental health, which is obviously important for our industry, and I think it's an ever-growing topic of conversation. But obviously the work that Kelly's Heroes does, how important is that for our industry and everyone in general?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some really frightening stats with regards to suicide, particularly within the construction industry, and you can sort of understand why it's a male-dominated industry still, and sadly, men seem to be heavily affected by mental illness, particularly at the sort of age I was at. I don't know what it is. I mean, the people that are involved with helping people go through that period will know why, but you can understand the stresses and strains of, earning a living, supporting a family in that environment that can be challenging. So it is really critical within our industry, and sadly I've become more and more aware of how it affects people over recent years.
Okay. And what do you think you're most looking forward to doing the Kilimanjaro climb? Is there anything you're particularly looking forward to?
I suppose the obvious answer to that would be the descent.
Yeah.
But actually, that's not the truth. Well, the strange thing is, or as I say, it's pure coincidence, and I didn't plan it this way, but the day that we come down is actually my 50th birthday.
Oh, wow.
So in terms of marking my 50th a milestone birthday with something incredible, then I am looking forward to spending my birthday descending. But it's actually the descending that worries me the most. Coming downhill is hard
different
work.
kind of.
Yeah, my knees struggle a little bit, whereas going up is I don't find so difficult. So, but it will be when we get to the summit, and it's the camaraderie of it. There's a good team of people doing it.
Yeah.
All get on well. Can you imagine the adrenaline burst and the exhilaration of successfully reaching the summit will be incredible.
Yeah, and you said about the camaraderie of in people within our industry all doing this together. Sort of how you've seen it throughout the years, that the fundraising and the charity that people do within our industry. Can you believe how sort of it keeps happening where people are donating lots of their hard-earned money when, like you said, times are tough? Like, can you imagine like an industry like this?
I imagine there are. I imagine there are other industries are similar in their approach, but there's something about the glass and glazing industry. I mean, it is it's a big industry when it comes to the revenue that it generates for the economy, but it's still actually quite a small industry in terms of the personalities that are involved. Everybody knows everybody else, as you said at the outset, and the industry comes together in a number of different ways. The PiGs events, for example, things like the Fit Show, everyone comes together, they know one another, and I think it is particularly good when it comes to rallying around for good causes. It wants to do the right thing, and it's something that we should be incredibly proud of as an industry.
Okay, and lastly, how can people donate to this climb? How are they going to spend their well-earned money, like we just said, to help you raise money for an amazing charity?
Well, we have a Just Giving page, which is under Kelly's Heroes, Kilimanjaro Challenge. All of us individually have our own pages, so people don't need to worry about the members of the rest of the team. They just need to go to my page, and support
you get the nice one.
But that's right. No, any one of the you can donate individually to the members of the team or to the group. It's all then Just Giving. And for those of people that are watching and listening to this, on the social media challenges, it's easy to find, and everyone puts the link in there to donate. So yes, please do.
Perfect. Oh, I think that's a nice way to end the main part of the podcast. So thanks, Gareth, for answering those questions. We're going to move on to a bit of a quick fire question round. It's nothing too heavy, just to learn a bit more about who Gareth is. So I'll fire away some questions, and just first thing comes to your head. Okay. So do you prefer talking over email or by phone?
Depends on the audience. I always favour phone if it's a difficult conversation or it's a challenging negotiation or something like that. But sometimes emails can be straight to the point, and if it's about getting the job done, then it depends on the circumstance.
Yeah. Where's your favourite place to visit?
Oh wow, there's so many. I've only lived in the Derbyshire area for the last 2.5 years, and I absolutely love living here. I spend every Sunday hiking in the Dales, and so that's become home. But it's also my favourite place to spend time. So,
nice.
Yeah.
And if there was a film made about you, who would you like to play you, and who would play you in a movie? That's a very difficult. Again, it's a very difficult question to answer. It'd be nice to think it would be someone like Matt Damon. And the only reason I say Matt Damon is that no one's going to believe this, but I have a passport photo of myself when I was about 20 years old. And for those of you that are familiar with the Jason Bourne films, when he's rifling through all the different passports, the photograph is identical to Matt Damon. So it'll be Matt Damon because he looks like me. Nice. What's your go-to karaoke song?
La Bamba.
Nice.
I do speak Spanish. I lived in South America for 2.5 years, so I can actually I can actually understand and recite the lyrics, and it's quite easy to sing. So yeah, La Bamba.
And just going back to talking about the industry in a year's time, if we sat down here in a year's time and we asked how the industry was looking, do you think it'll be in a better position, worse position, or about the same?
I'd hope and expect it to be in a better position, and I think we'll see a reduction in interest rates towards the end of the year, and that will put more money in people's pockets, and some confidence will return. So yeah, I would expect it to be a better situation.
Great. Perfect. I think that's a nice way to end the podcast. So for the last part of the podcast, we like to have all guests give a shout out. It can be friends, family, colleagues in the industry. But yeah, if you want to just fire away to that camera and give a shout out.
Well, a big shout out to everyone that works with me at Solar Fabrications. We're lucky we've got a really good team there. They all work very hard to make it a successful business. And then a second shout out to all of my team members on the climb to Kilimanjaro. I'm so looking forward to doing the challenge with you, and can't wait.
Nice. Well, thanks very much for joining us today, Gareth, and obviously good luck for the climb. I know you and the team will smash it, but yeah, we look forward to seeing all the build up and when you actually do it. So thanks again to Gareth for joining us, and that's it for today. So I hope you can join us for another episode soon. You can find this episode and all other episodes on our YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts from, and on our website www.peopleinglazing.co.uk. And whilst you're there, you can also find out when the next PiGs networking event is, read the latest people news from our sector, plus lots more. And don't forget to sign up for our bi-weekly newsletter, aptly named Sty News, straight to your inbox. Goodbye, and see you again soon.